Gandhi came to Patna in sadness to comfort the bleeding hearts of the sufferers in Bihar. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was his constant companion. Without respite, Gandhi set out for the interior again, soothing and encouraging the distressed and admonishing those who had wrought the havoc. In city and village, he chastised the majority and preached repentance and restitution. The deeper he probed the tragedy, the more it tormented him. As he moved into the afflicted areas, a new force moved the people, and they were rejuvenated. Gandhi was led through the ruins where humanity had been uprooted. He was deeply moved and stood like one transfixed. He roamed and gave a message of courage to the victims. Shed all fear except that of God. The leaven of goodwill was slowly but silently at work, repairing the breach in the people's unity. He brought love where hatred and cunning had ruled. His plan of rehabilitation was based on an unshakable faith in the fundamental goodness of humanity. He was sure that if the poison could be effectively neutralized, India might yet be saved from the desperate course of self-amputation. At the gathering for the evening prayers, the villagers swarmed to hear Gandhi. He asked them to atone for their sins. Retaliation is a vicious circle. Rebuild what you have destroyed. And live together as members of one family, for it is necessary to revive the eternal law of answering anger by love if humanity is to live. Bihar, over which Buddha roamed and preached, can radiate its effulgence over the rest of India. He very much feared that unless they woke up, India might lose the golden apple of independence. While Gandhi's mind was full of the dark implications of the madness which had wrought desolation and destruction in Bihar, he received an invitation from Lord Mountbatten, the new Viceroy of India, to meet him. Gandhi soon arrived in New Delhi and lived amidst the sweepers' slums. In the Viceregal Gardens, he met Lord and Lady Mountbatten. The Viceroy declared that his mission was to transfer power to Indian hands. Gandhi made it clear that he was opposed to any division of India. The Purana Killa in Delhi was stirred into new life when the Inter-Asian Relations Conference held its first session here in the last week of March 1947. It was an impressive gathering symbolizing the political renaissance of Asia, bringing together nearly 250 delegates from 22 Asian countries. Jawaharlal Nehru took the initiative in translating the aspirations of the Asian nations into reality. The urge for equality and his ideal of one world provided the main theme for his inaugural address.
Friends and fellow Asians, we have arrived at a stage in human affairs when the ideal of that one world and some kind of a world federation seems to be essential. We should work for that ideal and not for any grouping which comes in the way of this larger world group. But in order to have one world, we must also in Asia think of the countries of Asia cooperating together for that larger ideal. We think today of the great architects of Asian freedom whose labors have borne fruit. We think also of that great figure whose labors and whose inspiration have brought India to the threshold of her independence. Mahatma Gandhi.
Sarojini Naidu welcomed Gandhi to the conference.
And now I am going to request the father of our nation, the apostle of love and truth and non-violence, to give us his benediction.
Madam President and friends, West is today pining for wisdom. West today is despairing of multiplication of atom bombs, because a multiplication of atom bombs means utter destruction, not merely of the West, but it will be a destruction of the world. If you want to give a message again to the West, it must be a message of love. It must be a message of truth.
The terrible pendulum of violence was swinging wider and wider. To stop the Holocaust, Gandhi and Jinnah issued a joint statement deploring the recent acts of lawlessness and violence that brought utmost disgrace on the fair name of India, and denouncing for all times the use of force to achieve political ends. Gandhi signed the appeal in 3 scripts: Devanagari, Persian, and Roman. At a prayer meeting stressing the equality of all religions, Gandhi observed, "I believe in the message of truth delivered by all the religious teachers of the world. It is my constant prayer that I may never have a feeling of anger against my traducers, that even if I fall a victim to an assassin's bullet, I may deliver up my soul with the remembrance of God on my lips." In a fresh effort to avert the vivisection of India, Gandhi wrote to Mountbatten, "It would be a blunder for the British to be a party in any way to the division of India. If it has to come, let it come after the British withdrawal. If you are not to leave a legacy of chaos behind, leave the government of the whole of India to a party of your choice." The impending division of India was a deep source of agony to Gandhi's tormented soul. Ploughing his lonely furrow, he mused in a low tone, "Let posterity know that Gandhi was not a party to India's vivisection. He remained on the periphery during the last stage of the negotiations. On June 3rd, Mountbatten secured the consent of the Congress and the League leaders to the British government plan of setting up two independent dominions on August 15, 1947. The Congress Working Committee disliked the partition of India, but it could not let India bleed continuously, and accepted the plan. An emergency meeting of the All India Congress Committee was convened on June 14th to ratify the decision to establish a strong government and arrest chaos. Gandhi was steadfastly opposed to the division of India, and yet he urged the members to support the decision with full faith in their leaders. Appealing for communal unity, he said, the plan puts both Hinduism and Islam on trial, and concluded, make India a land where there will be no discrimination and no inequalities. The Working Committee resolution was adopted, 157 voting for and 29 against. Giving his definitive summing up on socialism suited to Indian conditions, Gandhi wrote, even as members of the individual body are equal, so are the members of society. This is socialism. He stressed its purity. Truth and ahimsa must incarnate in socialism, which is as pure as crystal and requires crystal-like men to achieve it. India was moving into a new orbit out of subjection. The Constituent Assembly adopted the banner under which the struggle for freedom had been fought. The spinning wheel was replaced by the ever-moving wheel of the divine law of love, symbolizing the dynamism and permanence of Indian culture. The sands of time were running out. While the work of partition was proceeding at breakneck speed, Gandhi was in Calcutta dispelling hate with love. The midnight of August 14, 1947, symbolized the rebirth of a nation after the slumber of centuries and a long struggle for self-determination. India emerged from subjection to freedom. A new hope came into being. A long-cherished vision materialized as the ancient land took its rightful place in the community of the world. The Constituent Assembly paid a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, the architect of Indian freedom, and assumed power for the governance of India. Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister, said, on August 15th, the appointed day, people gathered to welcome the dawn of a new age and witness the peaceful transfer of power. Lord Mountbatten became the first Governor-General of the Dominion by the will of the sovereign people of India. After hoisting the national flag, the first servant of the Indian people addressed from the ramparts of the Red Fort the 500,000 gathered below. On this day, our first thoughts go to the father of our nation, who held aloft the torch of freedom and lighted up the darkness that surrounded us. Paying tribute to the unknown soldiers of freedom, he urged the people to look to the future with faith and confidence. Concluding, he observed, "To the nations and peoples of the world, we send greetings. And to India, our much-loved motherland, the ancient, eternal, and ever new, we pay our reverent homage." As a result of Gandhi's healing presence in Calcutta, stirring scenes of Hindu-Muslim fraternization were witnessed. But for him, it was a day of prayer and deep heart-searching.
Mahatma Gandhi ki jai! Mahatma Gandhi ki jai! Mahatma Gandhi ki jai!
With the departure of British Army contingents from India's shores, ended the 190-year-old British domination over India. Gandhi praised the British withdrawal as the noblest act of the British nation. The time of rejoicing was brief. The rumblings of communal frenzy could be heard in the distance. A vast region was churning with hate. Minorities were tyrannized and persecuted. Millions of men, women, and children, uprooted from their settled homes and cut off from their old moorings, migrated on a dimension unprecedented in recorded history and trekked their way to safety. Migration was not a matter of personal choice for the migrants, but was forced on them by the hate of man. The refugees rolled on in a two-way stream across the border. The continuing tension agonized Gandhi. Before leaving Calcutta for Delhi, on being approached for a message, he wrote in Bengali, "My life is my message." In Delhi, Gandhi saw ruptured human relationships. He planted himself alone amidst the raging torrent and listened to the tales of woe of the embittered and the uprooted. On his 78th birthday, Gandhi invoked the aid of the all-embracing power to take him away from the vale of tears rather than make him a helpless witness to the butchery of men, and cried in a prayerful tone, "Not my will but thine alone shall prevail." In October 1947, events took a grave turn. On the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir delaying its decision about accession to either the dominion of India or Pakistan, freebooters from the northwest and Punjab invaded the state with the connivance and material support of the Pakistan government to force accession by the sword. The raiders, well armed and well equipped, sacked and looted towns and villages, put many inhabitants to death, and spread a reign of terror. Under the guidance of the National Conference, the people of the valley defended their soil and their common heritage with courage and unity. The invader was almost at the doorstep of Srinagar. On October 26th, the state acceded to the Indian Union with the express consent of the people and sought military aid against the wanton aggression. Indian troops were flown in and stemmed the tide of invasion. Kashmir occupied Gandhi's thoughts. Though he did distinguish between an aggressor and a defender, sending troops to Kashmir was not his way. The case of the defenders, he felt, was so manifestly just that if the people had resisted the unprovoked invasion non-violently, it would have won the admiration of the world. At the moment of crisis, on Gandhi's initiative, the first session of the All India Congress Committee, after the attainment of freedom, declared its faith. India as a nation is bound together by indissoluble cultural and historical links. It is also a land of many religions and many races, and must remain so. Our aim has been to develop this great country as a democratic, secular state. Values were changing fast under the impact of events. For Gandhi, political independence had little value if it did not herald the era of the common man. He was uncompromisingly opposed to the mania of mass production by the sacrifice of human values. Gandhi denounced the craze for pomp and pageantry after independence, and did not see any merit in hiding poverty. India, he maintained, possesses only her moral capital, which increases with the spending. Distressed at the rise of military expenditure in independent India, Gandhi painfully observed, India's destiny lies along the bloodless way of peace. The hope lingers in me that India might still lead the way towards world federation. To have a warless world, the economy of participating nations must be free from all exploitation. Communal harmony and the secular state were in great jeopardy. Sporadic violence in Delhi continued. In the face of the moral challenge, Gandhi was groping for light. Out of the depths of anguish came the decision to fast unto death, to purge the city of Delhi of the communal virus and lay his head on God's lap. On January 13th, 1948, he began the fast and passed from tumult into peace. He gave vent to his feeling. Death for me would be a glorious deliverance, rather than that I should be a helpless witness to the destruction of India. As the leaden hours crept by, and drop by drop, strength ebbed out of the frail body on the fasting bed, a deep heart-searching set in amongst all concerned. The fast terminated with the reunion of hearts of all communities, brought about by an awakened sense of duty on January 18th. Showering benediction on Prime Minister Nehru, who had been fasting in sympathy, Gandhi wrote, "Give up your fast. May you live long and continue to be the jewel of India. Though feeble, yet vibrant, Gandhi continued his after-prayer talk.
आखिर की एक बात कहकर मैं खत्म करूंगा.
The explosion was from a bomb thrown by a Hindu refugee to kill Gandhi. Gandhi remained unruffled.
ऐसे हम डर जाएंगे तो सचमुच यहाँ कोई हो जाए तो हमारा हाल कैसा होगा. सुनो 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 सब सुनो, कुछ नहीं हुआ है. चलिए शांत रहिए.
Relying on God, he refused to accept any kind of human protection. Discussing the question of the reconstitution of provinces on a linguistic basis, Gandhi observed, cultural autonomy had been our watchword, but such redistribution should not militate against the organic unity of India. Autonomy did not and should not mean disruption. Surveying the political scene in a tone of infinite sadness, he remarked, I have to find peace in the midst of turmoil, light in the midst of darkness, hope in despair. Giving a moral orientation to the Indian National Congress, Gandhi suggested in a draft constitution that it should transform itself into a Lok Sevak Sangh, striving for the social, economic and moral independence of the country in terms of its 700,000 villages. On Friday, January 30th, Gandhi asked for pending letters. I must reply to them today, for tomorrow I may never be. The day was a ceaseless round of interviews. During his conversation with Sardar Patel at 4:30, Gandhi had his usual evening meal. It was getting near prayer time. I hate being late, Gandhi averred, and rose to go to the prayer ground. At the sunset hour, with thoughts of prayer in his mind, Gandhi walked along to seek communion with God, who had illumined his path all through life till his progress was interrupted. The perverse assassin of the ages came with his unholy design and accomplished the foul deed. Nathuram Godse lodged hot lead in the soft flesh of the man who had known no enemy. Once again, blood had flown for the salvation of mankind. That sin is not of one man, but a sin which floods the whole human world from age to age. Gandhiji's mind was concentrated on God, and he merged in him. He fell here with Ram's name on his lips. A radiance hung over the spot. Men and women of all religions scooped up handfuls of the blood-stained earth to preserve. The 3 bullets that entered his body pierced the flesh of tens of millions, and inflicted a wound in the vitals of the whole of humanity. Choked with emotion, Jawaharlal Nehru said,
"The light has gone out of our lives, and there is darkness everywhere. Our beloved leader, Bapu as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more. The light has gone out," I said, and yet I was wrong, for the light that shone in this country was no ordinary light. The light that has illumined this country for these many years will illumine this country for many more years.
The nation stood still and silent for the man who gave it her freedom and her flag. A great wave of grief swept over the world. The world bowed in homage. The United Nations organization lowered its flag. Peoples of all races felt as one human family in mourning. The UNO paused to pay a tribute to the Mahatma.
It is fitting that we who sit here charged with the grave responsibility of maintaining peace among nations should pay tribute to this great Indian leader. His tragic death constitutes as grievous a loss to Pakistan as it is to India.
He was the man who said that faith transcends reason, that God has his footstool where live the poorest and the loneliest and the lost. But our conviction that Gandhi has not lived and has not died in vain.
We have lost our biggest man. If I may venture to say so, the world has lost its tallest man judged by all moral standards.
He lies wrapped in repose. Infinite peace and compassion are writ large on his face. Amidst encircling gloom, surging waves of mourning humanity besiege the place for a last glimpse. A glory has departed. Humanity may have to wait for centuries for such a one to walk again upon the earth. He is one who is attached to no person and no place by ties of flesh. He is one with the infinite. This man of divine mission laid down his life for the reconciliation of all men in brotherhood and love, became enshrined in millions and millions of hearts, and shone like a beacon for the whole world. He was perhaps the greatest symbol of the India of the past and of the India of the future. He stopped at the threshold of the huts of the dispossessed, dressed like one of their own, and spoke to them in their own language. He lived on this earth as love in the midst of hate, as forgiveness in the midst of vengeance, could fight the evil without, because he had mastered the evil within. He was the victorious one in death as in life. His legacy is courage, his banner, truth, his weapon, love. We rejoice in the midst of our tears and our shame. We glory in his having walked on our land. The best prayer that can be offered is to obey the mandates of the Master and to follow the path for which he lived and died. We shall never see him again or hear his gentle voice, but his imperishable memory will ever remain with us. On January 31st, as the setting sun looked on with a red glance, Gandhi's body was laid on a sandalwood pyre at Rajghat. Strong and dormant emotions rose in a flood of tears. Tiny flame was kindling in each of those million hearts. The logs burst in flames. The flames leaped up towards the sky. From the pyre comes the message. Lead me from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. His physical body dissolved in the cosmic elements, but not his soul. For the fire burns it not, the wind dries it not. It is unconsumable, incorruptible, eternal. After 13 days of mourning, the urn containing the Mahatma's mortal remains was carried in a special train to his final resting place, the waters of the Jamuna and the Ganga, the equalizer of beggars and kings, of sinners and saints. The Mahatma had walked all over the dusty and endless roads of India. He no longer treads the silent plains and dales. Now, the villagers move to him in their masses. The lonesome and weary train steamed into Allahabad railway station. In all solemnity, The urn was carried to the catafalque. Slowly, the catafalque moved towards the Sangam, the sacred confluence of the Ganga, the Yamuna and the Saraswati, the three rivers whose names are interwoven in the web of Indian culture. The Mahatma had kindled his torch at the central fires of the eternal being and aspired to identify himself with the whole creation. Who else but the elements can be the custodian of his physical remains? No place could be better as his final resting place than the bosom of India's lakes and mighty rivers.
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरे नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ा पराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तो मन अभिमान नो जाने रे वैष्णव जन दो सकल लोक मा सौने वौने निंदा न करे के नीरे सकल लोक मा सौने वौने निंदा न करे के नीरे वाच काच मना निश्चल राखे धन धन जननी तेनी रे वैष्णव जन दो वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ा पराई जाने रे
In its immemorial flow, the sacred Triveni has mingled the ashes of nameless millions whose joys and sorrows the Mahatma had made his very own. The last journey ended. What was left of his earthly remains was consigned to the sacred waters. Mahatma Gandhi lives in all that is true and good. He now belongs to the ages.